Our author rahimahullah ta'ala, he continues in the introduction and he says that if its condition is as I have described it, and our condition and the purpose for which we were created are as I have presented, then it is incumbent upon the responsible individual to adopt the path of the righteous, to follow the ways of those with guidance and insight, to prepare for what I have alluded to, and to take heed of what I have pointed out to. This of course goes back to what we spoke about yesterday, about the world being temporary, we've been created for worship and to strive for the year after, and so forth. The most appropriate way for them in this regard, and the best guidance for their journey, is to adhere to the etiquettes as per the authentic teachings of our Prophet, the leader of the first and the last, the most honorable of those who came before and those who will come after, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yani the best way, the most appropriate path we can possibly take is the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In every facet of life, in our aqeedah, number one, in our worship, number two, in our interactions, in our akhlaq, our adab, in every single aspect of life, is to take it from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. وَخَيْرُ الْهَدِي هَدِي Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The best of guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he then mentions a few verses and ahadith. He says, وَقَدْ قَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. And we, Allah said, help one another in righteousness and in taqwa. That this is the instruction for all of the Muslims. You should help and assist one another to do good, to do righteousness, and to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وقد صح عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال والله في عون العبد ما كان العبد في عون أخيه. It's also authentically reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah will remain in the assistance of the slave as long as the slave remains in the assistance of his brother. Allah will continue to assist the worshipper as long as he is in the assistance of his brother. So one of the greatest ways to acquire Allah's help is to help other people, is to be of assistance to others. And he says, مَنْ دَلَّ عَلَى خَيْرٍ فَلَهُ مِثْلُ أَجْرِ فَاعِلِهِ. Also a hadith, whoever guides towards goodness, then he will have the reward of the one who does that act of goodness. If you teach anybody anything, one simple sunnah, every time they fulfill that sunnah, you will get the reward as well as they will get the reward. مَنْ دَعَا إِلَى هُدَى كَانَ لَهُ مِنَ الْأَجْرِ مِثْلُ أُجُورِ مَنْ تَبِعَهُ لَا يَنْقُصُ ذَلِكَ مِنْ أُجُورِهِمْ شَيْئًا. Also in a hadith, whoever calls towards guidance, invites people to huda, to righteous guidance, then he will have the reward and the reward of those who follows him. And none of this will be decreased from them at all. This is one of the great bounties and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That if you teach one form of goodness, and that goodness gets passed down, for everybody who fulfills that goodness, they will all get their reward, but it will return back to the one who taught them as well, and the one who taught them as well. So this miracle applies the most to which person? To the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because every goodness that we do comes from his teachings. Which means every believer who does a righteous deed, the reward will go back to the Prophet ﷺ as well. So he doesn't only carry his deeds, but he carries the whole ummah's righteous deeds. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said to Ali radiallahu anhu, فَوَاللَّهِ لَأَنْ يَهْدِيَ اللَّهُ بِكَ رَجُلًا وَاحِدًا خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنْ حُمْرِ النَّعَمِ. He swore by Allah, that if Allah were to guide one person through you, one person, this would be better for you than red camels. And at the time, this was like the most expensive of possession. You look at the best of vehicles today, you can compare it to this today for our understanding. That one person gets guided by you, gets guided through your teachings, through your da'wah, this is better for you than any posh, smart, the best of vehicles, millions of pounds. This is better for you. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said. And this is because of the reward that it comes with. To guide one person, the reward that it carries, subhanallah. In our next lesson, we will just end off this muqaddimah, inshaAllah ta'ala. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.